The old jail didn't always look like this. I'm warning about a much different scene greeted prisoners here in the 1920s. It was less built up in this neighborhood, and the rusted bars were shiny black iron. I am the great-nephew of Fred McGahee, who was sentenced to hang here in the old jail in 1924 on a cold December morning. It's a family secret. I tend not to tell anyone. McGahees were warm people, kind, hard-working people, not killers. But for Fred, alcohol was a problem. Likely to deal with the pain and the grief of watching his father die a slow and painful death of bowel cancer, and then being left to run the family farm. If there's anything that this tragic incident has taught me about life, it's that it only takes a single lapse of judgment and everything changes forever.
Extra, read all about it. Beatrice Fee of Amimi, victim of cowardly shooting. 4 bullets in her body. Extra!
Did you hear Beatrice Fee's back from Toronto for the weekend? She'll be glad to be reunited with Fred.
Those two have known each other since childhood. They're engaged, are they not? It's a good match.
A summer wedding, I believe.
It's good that she's come back home. Will they live at the family farm?
I imagine perhaps this will help him straighten up. Quit the drinking once and for all.
He's had a rough time of it. Not easy when you're left to be the man of the house at 14 and watching your father pass in such a dreadful way.
Well, it sounds like it might be a happy ending for him.
Have you heard about Beatrice and Fred?
That's shocking. Where did it happen?
Golden Mile Road. Said she wanted to push the wedding forward and to not get married until she was 19. Then announced she didn't want to move back to Lindsay. Said he had changed her.
They fought?
He was enraged.
That's where I come in. Hello. My name is Mr. Stone, and I'm the governor of this jail. On May 25th, 1924, Fred McGahee was brought into my jail. He had shot his fiancée 4 times while autoing on Golden Mile Road, and she died soon after. The story goes that she no longer wanted to get married after a long-standing engagement. In a state of drunken rage, Fred found a short-term solution to a long-term problem. He was soon found guilty after the jury turned down his insanity plea. And although it did not make me happy, he was sentenced to be hanged in this very prison. The day leading up to his hanging, December 5th, 1924, was a sight to see. Fred saying goodbye to his mother, singing hymns and reciting prayers with his pastor, and finally, looking out at the crowd, at the final faces he would ever see. As you enter the jail, you will learn more about Fred, Beatrice, and their story.
You can follow me. There's been many visitors today, so I'm not sure they'll be able to see it. The Ross is just buzzing with rumors about what's happened.
Shot 4 times.
On Golden Mile Road.
She's been shot. There's been a shooting.
Shot 4 times.
We should just come back to town.
She's been shot.
Shot 4 times.
He was out of school 4 times, quit when his father died and left him the farm.
Where is she?
Shot without reason.
No reason?
He was drunk.
I heard multiple wounds.
Shot 4 times.
Tried to take his own life. Paris Green.
Poison? Well, thank you for letting us have a quick word with her. We'll definitely use this for the article. You should see the story we got here.
Well, did she say anything about Fred? You know that's what everyone wants to hear.
Well, yeah, she did mention him.
Well, what did she say?
Well, kind of sounds like she forgave him. She still loves him, though.
Oh, wow. Do we ever have a story here? Let's get back to the office. We've got an article to write. Beatrice Fee forgives her lover on deathbed and is true to the last. States, I know he loved me.
The autumn leaves are falling. Some hanging on, others falling early.
She's critical, lost a lot of blood.
There's only so much that we can do.
We must all depart. Some early, some late. Some may cling to the tree of life.
Nurse, more morphine. Make her comfortable.
I don't think she's going to make it through the night.
Sooner or later, we all must fall.
She's gone.
I died today.
Do I forgive? Do I forget? It's funny when those two things get intertwined. 4 bullets wasted on a target that wouldn't even end up being yours anyways. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want to be tied down. I wanted to explore the world. Toronto showed me a new life, and I liked it. I didn't want to die today. Frederick, you wanted nothing more than someone to love for the rest of your life. And now that person won't be me. That person would have never been me. Those 4 bullets have ended my life. And what they do to you will end yours. My wavering heart has brought me to this moment. As I gather the courage to tell you, I didn't want to marry you, but I still loved you. I still see the rage on your face. And I smell the alcohol in your breath. And I felt the tight grip around my wrist.
Please, follow me.
Good afternoon, Fred. How are you?
Had better days, Mr. Frost.
I guess so. All right, we're gonna have to work up a defense.
All right, what's the defense?
Well, first, tell me again everything about what happened that night.
Well, I had been drinking. Me and Beatrice were driving, and we started talking about the marriage. She said she didn't want to marry me. She said she wanted to postpone the wedding to June. Then she started talking about postponing the wedding until she's 20. I don't know, I just didn't think she wanted to marry me. I was so angry and drunk. I didn't mean to do it, Mr. Frost. I didn't mean to shoot her. I wasn't right. I was so angry and drunk and I had a gun, so I shot.
All right, Fred. I need to share something with you. There is a strong chance that you will be sentenced to death if you're found guilty.
The life of a subject forfeits for the life he takes.
But I strongly feel that there are some mitigating circumstances. Surely it was a lack of control for you to shoot Beatrice, your fiancée in this matter, and it clearly shows.
I fought, grabbed the gun from your hand.
That your mind was diseased at the time. You could have driven her to a lonelier spot. You might have concealed her body, but you did not. You drove her home and phoned for a doctor.
I loved her!
Just not enough to let me go.
All right, Fred. Listen. If our defense is that you are mentally unstable, we might be able to avoid a death sentence.
But I'm not mentally unstable. I'm not some insane person.
All right, Fred, please, hear me out. I'd like to bring some specialists in to attest to your state of mind, to question you about the circumstances of what you were thinking. You don't want to be hanged, Fred.
I'll take it like a man.
None of us want to see you hanged.
Really? After what I did? I killed Beatrice. Who wouldn't want me killed?
Well, for one, your family.
My family. I can't imagine what they think of me.
Sure, they have some degree of understanding. You need help.
Help? What will help do? I killed Beatrice. Help won't change that. Nothing I ever do will ever change that.
All right, calm down, Fred. Let's keep our wits about us.
Ellen Frost made further plea in jury address. Mugahi to plead insanity for murder case of Beatrice Fee. Extra, extra. Mugahi claims not a sound mind.
We were driving together earlier that day. Fred, Beatrice, and her friend Helen from Toronto. They seemed to be getting along and happy to be together, but I guess things aren't always what they seem. Fred and Beatrice went for a car ride, and we decided that we would meet up with them later. They didn't show, so Helen and I decided to go to Fred's. As I entered the house, I noticed my brother crying on the kitchen table. "I shot her, Lawrence," is what he said. I could hear Beatrice call for her friend Helen to come to the bedroom where the doctor had just examined her. An ambulance was on its way. As I just stood there, staring at my brother, I could hear Beatrice tell Helen what happened. They were driving. He had been drinking and he tried to get her to join him. He stopped his car at the side of the road, and when he tried to make advances on her, she fought back. They struggled and Fred pulled out a gun and shot her. She grabbed the gun and shot between Fred's fingers, but as she was trying to crawl away, attempting to escape, Fred shot another bullet. Poor Bea. The hurt and disappointment Fred must have felt of her slipping away suddenly turned to rage and vengeance. Fred needed control over something, and Beatrice was the casualty of that need. Here's my brother, my own blood. And while I do love him, there's no denying of the fact that he took a human life.
My niece Beatrice and I were very close. We were almost best friends. She trusted me with everything. I knew she wasn't ready to marry Fred yet. In fact, I didn't think she was ever going to be ready. I knew she was going to Lindsay to tell Fred the news. It's quite a shock to me she didn't tell him she wasn't ready at all. I don't get it. She loved living in Toronto with me. She was working at the Eaton Centre in the mail department. It's sad, you know, to see such a happy home like her mother's and father's in Omemee, to be visited with such grief and shock. We are all overcome with grief and shock. In a way, I think it's my fault. I could have saved her. But men are jealous, and if Fred couldn't have her, no one could. I hate Fred. I hate Fred McGahey. He killed my niece, and I will never forgive him for that. Now, all I can say is I once had a niece.
I guess this is the day our inmate Fred McGahey is sentenced to die.
Really is a shame. He seemed like a nice guy, but you can never be too sure.
Yeah. When he's not quiet, he seems charismatic. I like singing songs together. You know?
This is most unfortunate. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would do something like that.
He has a drinking problem. You know how some people get when they drink? It could have led to the shooting, and it does explain his disposition.
We're not supposed to tell people about the time of the hanging taking place.
I haven't, and it won't. What do you take me for? I don't even want to be here when it happens. I hope it happens quick and he doesn't suffer.
Agreed.
My son Frederick's hanging will be taking place soon. I'm not quite sure when, but I'm sure the day is coming as the days get colder and shorter. I went to visit him during his stay in prison, to give him my goodbyes, to tell him that I did not resent him, to tell him that God still loved him. He is my son after all, and I can't help but feeling that I failed him.
I'm awoken from a thin sleep by a familiar voice. As I wake, I forget where I am, and then immediately recognize the jail cell walls that surround me, that entrap me, and then recognize the voice as my mother's. Is my mother here? I turn and see her standing outside my cell. Never in my life have I seen her look so feeble, so weak. Her hair a mess, her clothes disheveled, her face grim and tired, her eyes weary and bloodshot. What was she doing here?
His father and I left such a large burden on him when he was so young. When his father passed, I was devastated. I couldn't pick myself up again. It was Fred's job to take up any and all responsibilities regarding the farm, but then the drinking started.
Doesn't it cause her significant grief and even embarrassment to see her alcoholic son sitting in a jail cell waiting to be hanged?
I wasn't there for him to help him through his struggle when he was growing up, and for that I apologize. His mental state was crumbling by the day, I'm sure. He loved Beatrice so intensely. I knew that. It was just one intoxicated lapse of judgment that ended his and Beatrice's lives.
If she came here to console me, she could be saving a lot of time, because no matter what consolation I receive from anybody, my brother, my lawyer, the priest, my mother, there is absolutely nothing anyone can do or say to me that will erase what I did.
When I went to see him, he looked at me with stoic eyes, cold and unfeeling. He knows what he had done, and he was not about to turn away from the judgment.
What is she doing now? Praying? There's no use in begging God for mercy and forgiveness, Mother. I'm gonna die and nothing can stop that.
I told him I loved him, that he was still my son. I prayed to God through tears. I prayed for Frederick's salvation, his mercy. It was a sensitive moment for me, but it seemed very mechanical for him. Movements and words that just needed to happen just because.
A guard nearby says that my mother's time with me is up. I see her, she becomes more emotional and tries to squeeze any last word she considers reassuring.
I realized that it was my last moment that I would see my son before the hanging. I wanted more time to hug him, to tell him that it was going to be okay. I felt a little better when I left, but there was still an empty hole in my heart where my family was supposed to be. My son, my daughter-in-law to be, my eventual grandchildren. I just hope that Frederick can rest easy.
Would you like to recite a prayer, Frederick?
Yes, I would.
Then let us say St. Timothy chapter 6, verse 7, and Job chapter 1, verse 21. Do you know these passages, Frederick?
I believe I do.
Then let us pray.
We carry nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. The Lord giveth, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Amen. God bless you, Frederick.
All is ready.
Please follow me.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.